So with a lot of gratitude, I would welcome Mrs. Sonal Goyal and request her to share her words of wisdom and her experiences with all of us. Ma'am.
Good afternoon and thank you all. Thank you very much for having me over here. I'm really delighted and grateful that it's such an auspicious occasion. And this is my first interaction with the team of IILM University Gurugram. Yes, of course, Professor Vidisha, you have already mentioned that I also worked in Gurugram. So my posting was in way back in 2020. And right now I am serving as resident commissioner in Tripura Bhavan in New Delhi. So the topic which I would be deliberating today, and since we have the very distinguished professors, guests, and of course the students from the university, and we are discussing about how we can all contribute towards our nation achieving the sustainable development goals, how India as a country would realize the 2030 agenda. So with my limited experience, I have been like now working for around 13, 14 years in government. And prior to that, I worked in private sector for approximately 3 years. So with that limited experience, I would share my thoughts and my experiences. So when we are talking about the 2030 agenda, I would like to mention here about para 53, which mentions that the future of humanity and our planet lies in our hands. And it also lies in the hands of today's younger generation who will pass the torch to the future generation. So why I am beginning my talk mentioning this very relevant quote is that India is the India is blessed to have the positive demographic dividend because we all know India is the youngest country in the world. And if we see the population between 15 to 45 of age group, we are blessed to have that working population in our country. And since we all try to mentor, we all try to guide, because we all know that the youth is having the power to innovate, to lead, to create, and also to enable our country to lead on the path of the development. So when we are talking about 2030 agenda, the 2030 agenda itself is mentioning about the role of the youth, the role of the younger generation in realizing the 2030 agenda. So when we are mentioning about the 17 SDGs, whether it is no poverty or reduction, zero hunger, or good health, well-being, quality education, clean water, sanitation, women empowerment or gender equality, so as to say, having sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption, production, climate change, and of course, life below water, peace, justice, and stronger institutions. I would like to mention here, I am sure that all of you are already aware of that. India, per se, as a country, is very much serious and fourth runner as far as the SDG 2030 agenda realization is concerned. And Niti Aayog, the think tank of the country, it is primarily dealing with the SDG agenda implementation. And if we talk about the central level, Niti Aayog is not only formulating how we can align the various policy schemes and planning part with the realization of the agenda goals, the 17 agenda goals. And if we talk at the state government level, various state governments have their SDG implementing units. So the SDG implementing units are generally at the state level. They are based in the state secretariats, wherein they have at many places like Haryana, they have I think they have institutionalized a PMU, which is working under the planning department. Similarly, many other states have separately formed a cell or an implementation agency, which is not only monitoring but also coordinating, also giving suggestions or as to how we can improvise. And the most important thing is that this should be localized. So localizing the agenda is very much important. So when we are talking about localizing, it means that the intent should be reaching uh, to the lowest beneficiary to the beneficiary at the ground level. So the people who are staying in the gram panchayat, people who are staying in the towns, in cities, of course. So therefore, this kind of uh, a 2030 agenda in our country is being implemented through, of course, we all know, three-tier system. And as far as the three-tier system is concerned, we are having these implementation through the decentralized mechanisms. So people, planet and prosperity, the SDG 2030 agenda definitely talks about people, planet and prosperity. And we have like 169 targets. And when we talk about India, India is definitely committed towards building on the Millennium Development Goals, the MDG. And what we are trying to achieve through that, we are trying to achieve through that is the economic growth, how we protect the environment, how we are able to include various sections of the society uh, socially. So social inclusion is also one of the various important aspects if we talk about the 2030 agenda realization. Now, I would like to practically demonstrate a few of the examples of how our country has been able to take forward the agenda as far as the practical implementation is concerned. So when we are talking about implementation, we have all we have all read about Sabka Saath Sabka Vikas. So it is like collective efforts for inclusive growth. So when we are talking about inclusive growth, it is we are talking about an India, a Bharat, which is Sashakt, which is Sabal. So an empowered and a resilient India. So a empowered and a resilient India, wherein we have been able to reduce the impact of the poverty. So a data I was reading last year, some data wherein it has, which was released by Niti Aayog, of course, wherein it was mentioned that India has successfully lifted more than 271 million people out of multi-dimensional poverty through economic growth, through empowerment. There have been various employment generation programs. There have been vocational training, development trainings, due to which this has been possible. When we are talking about SDG 6 or SDG 3, which is talking about improved sanitation and, of course, good health and clean water. So we all know we have Swachh Bharat Mission Abhiyan or the Clean India Mission. So this earlier we have Nirmal Bharat Abhiyan. It was way back till say 2014. And in 2014, October 2014, India saw the launch of Swachh Bharat Mission. Swachh Bharat Mission is very much, it has actually led to an implementation to an extent that we have seen the reduction of, also as to say, the open defecation has been kind of eliminated to a large extent. We have seen how we are trying to achieve rural sanitation to almost 100%. There is a sharp reduction in, there is in fact behavioral changes. So when we are talking about sanitation or overall improvement of the health, so we very well know, and we all appreciate that unless and until we have this behavioral change, we have this uh, daily routine practices being changed, we cannot have a healthy environment, we cannot have a healthy well-being. So this all has been integrated. When we talk about the SDG, which is talking about gender empowerment or reduction of gender equality, we all know about the program of Beti Bachao Beti Padhao Abhiyan, which, and it is also talking about empowerment of girls and women. We all have known about National Rural Livelihood Mission, or and we have seen how the rural self-help group women specifically have been empowered to such an extent. So all these programs are, we are trying to realize the agenda. And of course, when we are talking about the cleaner environment, we all have seen so many initiatives towards saving the environment. And it is not only the initiatives of the Ministry of Environment and Forest, it is also the initiative of Ministry of Non-Renewable Energy, we are seeing the even in government offices now we are seeing how we are trying to adopt the less use of paper, how offices are turning into becoming e-office, digital communication means are being encouraged. And also we are seeing how the renewable sources of energy, the use of solar panels, how all these things are coming forth. Now, friends, just because I also would like to mention briefly about how we as citizens, how we as youth of our country, how we can take things forward, and what can be your role towards, of course, uh, realizing the agenda, and also towards how you can contribute towards nation building, how you can contribute towards your society. So we all know that youth are the critical thinkers, they are the innovators, they have the power to lead, innovate. Uh, and sustainable development is the pathway for future. And not only the efforts which we are doing today, we also need to kind of reflect and innovate that how we can take things forward, and what all do we need to do to improvise and to sustain the things which we are aiming to do at. I would like to mention that India, we are all celebrating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, and this will culminate, this would be celebrated in August 23 as the 75 years of independence. And this is having the theme of nation first and nation always. So, my young dear friends, I would like to reinforce this thought amongst all of you that nation first and nation always. Whatever you are trying to do, whatever initiative you take, whatever career opportunity you undertake, we all should never forget that we belong to country and country has given us a lot. So we need to do something for it, and whatever initiative we take, there should be some help to somebody. And there should we all should be compassionate, we all should be empathetic, we all should have this feeling of sympathy with each other. If we talk about recent experiences of last 2 years, how India as a country has faced COVID-19 pandemic with its resilience, how we have rose above the challenge. And in that, youth have played a very important role. I have read across country the various studies which have various case studies which have been highlighted at various platforms. Like I read about students of IIT Guwahati. They developed a low cost mechanical ventilator. Students during COVID-19 pandemic, students of IIT Kerala, they have developed a low cost mask vending machine. And then later on, they got support under the Kerala Startup Mission, KSUM. Later on, they got the support under Kerala Startup Mission. So we have seen how not only during COVID-19 pandemic, we have seen even in Gurugram, we have seen so many civil society organizations, NGOs, public spirited individuals coming forth and helping the administration, helping the government to not only help the migrant workers to feed the people who are living in slum areas, to make ration supplies to all the poor people who lost their jobs or who were not having a regular source of income. So all these things have shown that we all exist in a society in which we are interdependent, and we have no other option but to contribute and to support each other. I would like to mention about a program of Government of India, which is Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, which is very well aiming at supporting the vocal for local. Why I'm mentioning all these schemes, friends, before all of you, because you all must be aware of the initiatives, the schemes, programs, and the facilities which are available at the government level. And you please look at the websites of the government departments like Niti Aayog, like MyGov India. You will definitely get some information on the policy programs, or how you can also apply, how you can also take benefit. For example, you have an idea under Digital India Mission, They have we have seen how young people, even students in school, how they are innovating, and their success stories are being shared across the country. How students in colleges, how undergraduate students, postgraduate students are taking benefit under the Digital India mission. So friends, I would like to just request to all of you that I know that you all are tech savvy. We have, as if I compare it to my own time, so when I was preparing for my civil services way back from say 2004-5 till today, it is so much of a change in the way technology has developed, so much of a change in which we are having access to the information. So please try and use that information to your benefit. Do not waste your time and resources and energy on anything which is not relevant, or which may also be in fact dangerous, in the sense which may also be having a misleading or a false information. So what I am trying to say is that please gain knowledge, please gain experience looking at all these platforms. And if you feel that yes, this is something you can do, discuss amongst your peer groups, discuss among your friends. I can very well share my own experience, like from last say 1 year during COVID-19 pandemic. I have got opportunity to interact with students across the country, various universities. So students at their own levels, they have formed work groups, they have formed MUNs, they have been organizing Model United Nations, they have been organizing lectures, seminars. So this is your strength, this is your experience which you are gaining. And knowledge is the powerhouse, and as much as you share the positive things, as much as you share the innovation, the optimism, the stories which rise above the occasion, which are amongst us. If we all will talk about say Sachin Tendulkar or Saina Nehwal or Mrs. Kalpana Chawla, so they are of course legends, but we also need to look at the stories from amongst ourselves, the stories of the people who are within the society, who are living amongst between us. Encourage them and support each other. That is most important for us to understand, that unless and until we support each other, we as a nation, India as a nation, will not be able to grow to the strength to which we are aspiring for. So, friends, I think we have all other speakers also for the session today. I would like to conclude by mentioning few things, like the sustainable development is the pathway to future, but it is our collective duty. It is our collective responsibility to contribute to nation building. And we all know that, we all have heard that, be the change you want to see, be the change you want to see. But unless and until we contribute our little bit, we won't be able to see the change. So criticizing the government, criticizing the administrative institutions is very easy, and even day and night we will see some or the other criticism of the government. But friends, as I have gained, if not so much of an experience, but at least to an extent, I can say that we all, as part of government, we are working in quite an amount of limitations. Many a times we want to do a lot many things, but we have human resource capacity build constraints, we have finance constraints. There are many things, or a dynamic paraphernalia in which an administrator has to work. So if you really want to also help the government, also try and locate the officers around you or the administrative institutions around you, and they all they all in fact invite the participation of the people, the participation of the younger population, for making every scheme and program a Jan Andolan. So when we're talking about an effective implementation, it is only possible through community involvement. So community involvement would definitely be a part of any flagship program and scheme, whether it is Swachh Bharat Mission, or Beti Bachao Beti Padhao program, or Jal Shakti Abhiyan, or Digital India Mission. any scheme program you mention about it, it is not possible unless we are able to connect to the people to whom it is intended to. So if you get opportunity, do apprise yourself about these things and try and contribute. So my best wishes to the entire team. I would just like to conclude by mentioning that India has really progressed to a large extent, and it is now not only a myth, now it is a reality. And youth are the innovators, and you all have the capacity to lead, innovate. And when we're talking about Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat, so you are the epitome. And we all should never forget, a nation is not built big by its building or the institutions. It is built big by its human resource, by its people. So let us also try and build in our capacity building. I would also like to congratulate the university team for arranging such type of lectures, seminars, for reorienting, for reinforcing these positive things among the students, among the youth of the country, so that they also are having the idea of how they can contribute and how we can all make our country shine at the global platforms at all levels. So my regards to the entire team for inviting me over here, and my best wishes to all of you. Thank you so much.